I've seen turbo repairs on Ram trucks turn into painful bills fast. One customer came in with a 6.7 Cummins thinking it was just a little extra noise under load, and it ended up being a turbo job that pushed past $4,000 once labor and related parts were added. So in this video, I'm showing you the stupid habits that send trucks in that direction, and believe me, the first one on the list is the mistake I see most often because people think the exact opposite is good for the truck. Let's begin. Number 7. Going full throttle while the engine is still cold. A customer brought me a 2018 Eco Diesel that had lost that clean, eager feel under load. Nothing catastrophic yet. No giant smoke show. Just slower spool and more turbo noise than it should have had for the mileage. The service history looked acceptable on paper. The usage pattern was the real problem. Cold starts followed by immediate throttle every morning. And once the turbo is damaged, the numbers stop being funny. Stock diesel turbo replacement commonly starts around $1,000 to $1,700 for the part alone, before labor. In the real world, once you add labor, oil and filter, hardware, gaskets, inspection of feed and return lines, and the usual extras, a Ram diesel turbo job can easily land in the low to mid four figures, and dealer-level quotes can go well beyond that. The quickest way to make a turbo live a hard life is to ask it for full boost before the engine is ready to support it. Ram's own diesel guidance says it plainly: avoid full throttle operation when the engine is cold, and bring engine speed up gradually so oil pressure can stabilize as the engine warms. That warning is not there for decoration. On a turbocharged Ram, especially a 6.7 Cummins, a 3.0 Eco Diesel, or a newer twin-turbo 3.0 Hurricane, the turbo shaft and bearings are living on pressurized oil. When the oil is still cold, it is thicker, slower where it matters, and not yet in its best operating state. Then the owner floors it. The turbo has to spool hard, exhaust energy spikes, and the exact part that depends most on stable lubrication gets hit at the worst moment. This is one of those habits that does not usually kill a turbo in one dramatic event. It shortens its life a little at a time. A work truck example makes it obvious. A 2019 Ram 2500 6.7 Cummins gets started at 6:30 in the morning, idles briefly, then gets hammered onto the highway with a trailer. The owner thinks 2 minutes of idle equals warmed up. It doesn't. Coolant may be moving, but oil temperature is still nowhere near where it needs to be for that kind of load. On a Ram 1500 Eco Diesel used for short commutes, the pattern is just as bad. Cold start, hard merge, repeat 5 days a week. Different truck, same mistake. The fix costs nothing. Stop asking for full boost from a cold engine. Drive lightly, build temperature properly, then use the power. Number 6. Shutting the engine off right after a hard pull or towing climb. The pull is over, the trailer is parked, the campsite is reached, the truck stops. And that is exactly when some owners start cooking the turbo. This mistake shows up constantly on towing trucks because the engine feels calm the moment the throttle is gone, so the driver assumes the stress is gone too. It isn't. After a long grade, a loaded merge, a hot weather highway pull, or repeated acceleration with a trailer, the turbocharger is still carrying a lot of heat in the turbine housing and center section. If the engine keeps running for a short cooldown, oil continues circulating through the turbo and carries that heat away. Shut it off immediately, and the oil flow stops while the heat is still trapped there. Over time, that can bake the oil in the bearing housing and leave deposits that hurt lubrication. Garrett's technical guidance is blunt on the larger point. More than 90% of turbo failures are oil-related, mainly oil starvation or oil contamination. This is not old diesel folklore, it is a real pattern. A Ram 3500 Cummins towing a fifth wheel through summer grades is the easiest example. The truck works hard for 20 minutes, then the owner pulls into a fuel station and keys it off instantly. Do that a few times a year, and maybe nothing obvious happens for a while. Do it for 2 or 3 towing seasons, and the turbo has lived a much uglier thermal life than the mileage suggests. The same habit shows up on tuned trucks and on newer gasoline turbo Rams too. More boost and more load mean more heat, and more heat means less tolerance for bad shutdown habits. Last season, a customer rolled in with a 2017 Ram 3500 6.7 Cummins that was starting to whistle and lag more than it used to. It still towed. It still made power. But the turbo had clearly aged faster than the truck's mileage suggested. His routine explained it in one sentence. Every stop after towing was key off immediately. No cooldown, ever. This is where price matters again. If that habit pushes a turbo over the edge, you are not just buying a turbo, You are buying labor, fluids, hardware, inspection, and downtime. Even a normal replacement can turn into a $2,500, $5,000 event quickly, and ugly dealer quotes can go higher depending on the truck and what gets found along the way. You do not need 10 minutes of idling. You do need a little mechanical patience after hard use. That is the cheaper habit. Number 5. Letting it idle for long periods. A turbo ram can spend an hour running and still be doing itself zero favors. That is what owners miss about excessive idling. They think no throttle means no stress. On a turbo engine, that is a bad assumption. Long idle time gives you low exhaust energy, lower combustion efficiency, more soot, and more time with the turbo spinning in a dirty, low-temperature environment that does not keep things clean. On a 6.7 Cummins, that matters even more because the variable geometry turbo and emission system both hate a truck that lives on idle time instead of real load. On a 3.0 Eco Diesel, the pattern is just as ugly. Short trips, long waits, low heat, more buildup. This is why two identical Rams can have the same mileage and totally different turbo health. One is a 2020 Ram 2500 that spends its life actually driving, towing, and getting proper heat into the system. The other is a work truck that sits running at job sites in winter warm-ups during lunch breaks, or while the owner just leaves it on for a minute 10 times a day. At 90,000 miles, one turbo looks used, the other looks tired. The reason is simple. Idling does not produce the kind of exhaust heat that helps keep the turbo and exhaust side cleaner. Instead, it encourages soot, contamination, and repeated low-quality operating conditions. Add that to a diesel truck that already sees interrupted regens and city use, and the turbo has a much rougher life than the owner realizes. The month before last, a contractor brought me a 2019 Cummins that had no dramatic turbo failure, but the truck felt lazy and dirtier than it should have for the mileage. His engine hours told the story. The mileage looked acceptable. The idle time didn't. That truck had spent far more of its life sitting there running than actually moving, and the turbo had paid for it. And once that habit starts contributing to turbo trouble, the money gets stupid quickly. A variable geometry turbo for a Cummins is not a cheap part, and by the time you add labor, diagnosis, cleanup, and the usual extras, you're not talking about a few $100. You're talking about a repair bill that can sit comfortably in the $3,000, $5,000 range depending on truck, shop, and what else got affected. If the truck does not need to be running, shut it off. A turbo does not get healthier just because the engine stayed on. Number 4. Stretching oil changes or running dirty oil. More turbos die from bad oil than from bad luck, and that is not a figure of speech. If you want to shorten turbo life in a Ram, start by pretending oil is just an engine thing. It is not. The turbocharger lives on the same oil supply, and it lives brutally hard on it. The shaft is spinning at insane speed, the bearing section runs hot, and the margin for contamination is small. Once the oil gets dirty, thinned out, or overloaded with soot, the turbo starts losing protection fast. This is where owners get arrogant. They stretch oil changes because the truck still feels strong, or because the dashboard has not scared them yet, or because they think one extra couple thousand miles cannot matter. On a naturally aspirated engine, that habit is already dumb. On a turbo diesel Ram, it is worse. A 6.7 Cummins towing regularly will load the oil with soot and heat far harder than a lightly used half-ton gas truck. An Eco Diesel doing lots of short drives can contaminate oil faster than the owner expects. Even the newer Hurricane trucks need clean oil because a turbocharger does not care about marketing claims or how new the platform is. It cares whether the oil film protecting it is clean and stable. A few years ago, a guy came in with a Ram 2500 that had followed the classic "I always go a little over" routine on oil changes. The truck had around 110,000 miles, and the turbo was already showing the kind of wear I expect from a much rougher life. Nothing exotic caused it. No huge tune, no major abuse, just dirty oil staying in service too long, over and over. And dirty oil turbo failures rarely stay cheap. You are not only paying for the turbo, you are paying for oil feed and return inspection, flushing contamination, new lines if needed, gaskets, labor, and sometimes extra work because the old unit left debris behind. On a diesel Ram, that can put you into the $2,500, $4,500 range without much effort, and worse if the job snowballs. Owners love talking about horsepower, towing numbers, and reliability. Fine. Then act like oil matters, because to a turbo it matters more than your opinion does. Number 3. Using a cheap intake or ignoring a dirty air filter. Not every turbo dies because of heat. Some die because people let them eat dirt. That is the whole point of this one. Owners get obsessed with airflow, spool sound, and letting the turbo breathe, then buy a cheap intake kit with poor filtration or leave the stock filter in the truck far too long because it still looks okay. Both mistakes hit the same area, the compressor side of the turbo, which is exactly where you do not want contamination. A turbocharger pulls an enormous volume of air. If the filter media is poor, the seal is bad, or the intake setup is cheap enough that fitment is inconsistent, fine dust gets through. Once that starts happening, the compressor wheel pays first. The blade edges get worn, efficiency drops, and the turbo has to work harder to make the same boost. That is how one truck slowly loses response while the owner keeps blaming fuel tune or just age. This gets worse on trucks that actually work. A 6.7 Cummins on construction sites, dirt access roads, ranch roads, or towing in dry conditions is inhaling far more trash than a suburban daily driver. Same thing for a 1500 eco-diesel used around farms or unpaved lots. In those environments, filter quality matters a lot more than intake noise. I had a guy come in with a 2021 Ram 2500 who had installed a bargain intake because he liked the sound and thought the truck felt freer. A few months later, he was complaining about inconsistent boost response and a dirtier than normal intake path. Once we pulled it apart, the filter quality and sealing were exactly as bad as you would expect for the money. He saved maybe $150, $250 over a quality setup and put a multi-thousand-dollar turbo at risk to do it. The other version of this is even more common. No aftermarket intake, just a stock box with a neglected filter. That sounds less dramatic, but it still hurts. A restricted filter raises intake restriction, makes the turbo work harder to pull air, and pushes the system away from the clean, efficient operating conditions it wants. On some work trucks, owners will run a filter until it is filthy because the truck still runs fine. The turbo still pays for that laziness. This is simple math. A quality filter costs maybe $30, $80. A decent intake that actually filters properly is several hundred. A turbo replacement is usually several thousand once labor and related parts are involved. If you are gambling that difference to save a little money or gain more intake noise, the truck is not the one being stupid. Number 2. Ignoring a small intercooler or charge air boot leak. A tiny boost leak can make a turbo work like an idiot for months before the driver understands what is happening. That is why this one gets expensive. The leak often starts so small that the truck still feels usable. Maybe spool is a little slower. Maybe power is down slightly under load. Maybe there's a faint hiss the owner only hears with the window down. Nothing dramatic, which is exactly why people keep towing, merging, climbing grades, and pretending the truck is fine. On a turbo Ram, that leak usually shows up somewhere in the charge air path. Intercooler boots, clamps, plastic end tanks, or a split in a hose that only opens properly under boost. This matters because the turbo is now being asked to compress air that the system is not fully holding. The truck still wants the same performance, so the turbo keeps working harder trying to hit target boost. Harder work means more heat, more shaft speed, and a rougher life for the whole setup. This is not rare on Ram trucks. Older 6.7 Cummins trucks are especially known for charge air boot and plumbing issues under load, and even a newer diesel with towing miles can start showing weakness there. Eco-diesels can do the same thing, just often with smaller symptoms that get missed longer. A guy with a 2016 Ram 3500 came in last year saying the truck didn't pull quite right with his trailer anymore. No catastrophic limp mode, no giant cloud of smoke, just a weaker truck. The issue was a charge air leak that had been there long enough to leave the whole system working harder than it should have. Catch it early and you are talking about a hose, clamp, or boot, often well under a few $100s in parts, maybe $200, $500 all in depending on what failed. Ignore it and keep towing, and now you are heating up the turbo, overworking the system, and raising the odds of a much uglier repair later. That is the real cost here, not the leak itself. The leak is usually the cheap part. The expensive part is what happens when the owner keeps asking a turbocharged engine to perform normally while the pressure side is no longer sealed properly. Once that happens, the turbo starts chasing a target through a hole, and that is a bad way to make expensive parts age fast. Number 1. Lugging the engine under load at too low RPM. A lot of Ram owners think towing easy means keeping RPM as low as possible. That sounds smart until you understand what the turbo is dealing with. Lugging the engine is when you ask the truck for heavy load at low RPM instead of letting it rev into a healthier part of the power band. In real life, it looks like this: pulling a trailer in too high a gear, rolling into the throttle on a grade at 1,400, 1,700 revolutions per minute, refusing to downshift because the engine sounds quiet and assuming quiet always means safe. It doesn't. On a turbocharged Ram, especially a 6.7 Cummins, that low RPM heavy load habit is rough on the whole system. The turbo is being asked to build boost hard while exhaust flow and engine speed are not in a clean, efficient place. Cylinder pressure rises, exhaust heat rises, and the engine feels strong because it is digging hard. But mechanically, that is not the kind of pull you want to repeat for years. This is where owners kill parts without realizing it. A truck climbing a grade at 2,400 revolutions per minute in the right gear is usually living a healthier life than the same truck trying to drag the same load at 1,500 revolutions per minute because the driver is obsessed with keeping revs low. One setup sounds busier, the other one is often creating more stress. I had a customer with a 2015 Ram 2500 Cummins who towed a car trailer every month and kept complaining that the truck felt hot and lazy on long grades. He was doing exactly this, leaving it in too tall a gear and leaning on the throttle instead of forcing a downshift sooner. Once he changed that habit, EGT behavior improved, the truck felt cleaner under load, and he stopped cooking the driveline every time he hit a hill. This mistake also shows up on tuned trucks. More torque down low makes owners even more confident about lugging them, which is exactly how you turn a strong setup into an expensive one. And once it starts costing money, it spreads. Turbo wear, hotter operation, more strain on the transmission, and more stress on the whole driveline. A transmission service is manageable. A turbo and transmission problem together is not. On the wrong Ram, that can turn into a $4,000, $7,000 lesson. If the truck needs a lower gear, give it one. Let the engine spin where it works cleanly. Low RPM and high load is not taking it easy on a turbo Ram. It is just a slower way of being abusive.